Here are a few updates coming from different sources. Jeff explains that there are three main steps left in forming the government after the elections. First, the full completion of Parliament. Once Parliament is finalized, the country must confirm the President, and after that, appoint the Prime Minister. He believes that in the upcoming parliamentary session, possibly around the 29th, they could finalize the Parliament's formation. Once that happens, parliamentary sessions could continue, including discussions about adjusting the rate while the government is still taking shape in 2025. According to him, this approach makes the most sense because it allows everything to move forward without delay. Otherwise, if they wait until the entire government is completed, the process could stretch out until at least February. Sandy Ingram points out that most people inside Iraq are not really focused on what their currency can purchase outside the country. Frank 26 raises a question about notifications or redemption centers. In response, Frank clarifies that there are no redemption centers, which is why people cannot locate them. Instead, individuals will need to go directly to banks. There's also a note mentioning that the community now has over 100,000 members, along with thousands of visitors, all sharing real-world experiences. Jeff adds that the rate change could happen either before the government formation officially begins or after it is fully completed. At this point, no one knows the exact timing, but he believes it will occur at one of those two stages. Claire references an article stating that in its new session, the Iraqi parliament has placed two key items on the agenda for its first meeting on Monday. The first item involves swearing in the new members of the Council of Representatives. The second item covers the election of the Speaker of Parliament, along with his two deputies, according to an announcement from the Parliament's media office. Militiaman shares his view that Iraq has made significant progress and major advancements. He emphasizes that the country has been expanding its non-oil resources and strengthening revenue streams, all of which support the real effective exchange rate. He says he has no doubt that these developments will positively impact Iraq's currency value. Frank 26 recalls that on December 1st, they believed a new exchange rate would be released. That did not happen, and instead the United States granted Iraq an additional 30 days. The formation of the government is being viewed as the most critical factor driving everything forward. The process begins with the completion of Parliament, which then allows for the confirmation of the President, and finally the appointment of the Prime Minister. Once Parliament is officially finalized, it can immediately begin holding active sessions, even while the rest of the government structure is still being completed. This is important because it allows decisions, including discussions around rate adjustments, to move forward without unnecessary delays. Waiting until the entire government is formed could push meaningful progress into February, slowing momentum and creating uncertainty. By acting during this transition period, the leadership can take advantage of early timing and maintain forward motion, especially as 2025 approaches with strategic planning already underway. At the same time, Iraq's economic position has been steadily strengthening in ways that support long-term value. The country has made visible progress in expanding non-oil sectors and diversifying its revenue sources, reducing its historical dependence on oil alone. These developments are not cosmetic. They directly impact the real effective exchange rate by creating stronger economic fundamentals. Increased domestic production, alternative income streams, and improved fiscal management all contribute to a more balanced and resilient economy. This steady buildup suggests that any future currency adjustment would be supported by real economic growth rather than speculation. The emphasis here is on sustainability, showing that Iraq is positioning itself for stability and credibility in the global financial system. Timing remains closely connected to the budget cycle, which appears to be the anchor for all major financial decisions. Expectations for a new exchange rate initially centered around early December, but when that window passed, an additional 30-day period was introduced, signaling that patience and alignment were still required. This delay does not necessarily indicate a setback, but rather a recalibration to fit within a broader financial framework. The transition from a primarily domestic focus to a more international role is expected to begin around the start of the new budget period. This reinforces the idea that every major step, including currency-related changes, is being synchronized with fiscal planning to ensure a smooth and controlled rollout rather than rushed execution.